Tell Me Lies Season 3 is officially on the way, and if you thought the chaos, manipulation, and emotional wreckage peaked in Season 2, think again. Hulu's psychological drama has quietly become one of the most unsettling relationship shows on streaming, and its return promises even more scandal, messy romance, and consequences that can't be ignored anymore. At its core, Tell Me Lies has never really been about love in the healthy sense. It's about obsession, power, and the way unresolved trauma turns intimacy into a battlefield. Season 3 looks ready to double down on that uncomfortable truth. By the end of Season 2, Steven and Lucy's relationship wasn't just toxic, it was radioactive. The show stripped away any lingering illusion that what they share is romantic, exposing it instead as a cycle of control, manipulation, and emotional dependency. Steven's true nature became harder to excuse, and Lucy's complicity in her own suffering became equally impossible to ignore. Season 3 isn't expected to reset or redeem them in neat ways. Instead, it feels positioned to explore the fallout. What happens when everyone around a toxic couple finally starts seeing the damage clearly? And what happens when the people trapped inside that relationship can no longer pretend it's harmless? One of the biggest strengths of Tell Me Lies has always been how it shows the ripple effect of Steven and Lucy's choices. Their relationship doesn't exist in a vacuum. Friends get lied to, used, or emotionally collateralized. Romantic partners become casualties. Trust erodes across entire friend groups, and Season 3 appears ready to push that even further. The series has hinted that the social cost of staying silent about abuse and manipulation is just as dangerous as the behavior itself. If Season 2 was about exposure, Season 3 feels like it will be about accountability, or the lack of it. Steven, in particular, remains one of the most unsettling characters on television because the show refuses to turn him into a cartoon villain. He's charming, articulate, and often convincing, which makes his emotional cruelty more disturbing. Season 3 is expected to peel back even more of his psychology. Rather than simply showing what he does to others, the story may finally interrogate why he does it, not to excuse him, but to show how deeply ingrained his patterns are. Steven doesn't manipulate because he enjoys chaos. He manipulates because control is the only way he knows how to feel safe. That insight makes him more dangerous, not less. Lucy's arc is just as crucial going forward. Season 2 left her at a crossroads where self-awareness and self-destruction were colliding. She knows Steven hurts her. She knows she lies to herself. And yet she keeps choosing familiarity over freedom. Season 3 has the opportunity to explore one of the hardest truths about toxic relationships. Recognizing the problem doesn't automatically give you the strength to leave. Lucy's internal conflict between who she wants to be and who she becomes around Steven is likely to be one of the emotional anchors of the new season. Romance will still play a central role, but Tell Me Lies has never been interested in fairy tale love stories. Season 3 is expected to introduce new dynamics that complicate existing relationships even further. New characters may offer Lucy moments of clarity or temptation, but the show has proven that better options don't magically fix unresolved trauma. Meanwhile, Steven's interactions with others could expose just how adaptable his manipulation is. He doesn't repeat the same tactic twice. He tailors his behavior to whoever he's dealing with, which keeps him one step ahead of accountability. Scandal has always been the show's secret weapon, and Season 3 is unlikely to pull punches. Lies that were buried in earlier seasons are primed to resurface, and when they do, the consequences will likely be irreversible. Tell Me Lies excels at showing how a single secret can metastasize over time, poisoning relationships long after the original lie was told. Season 3 feels like the moment when those secrets stop being survivable. Careers, friendships, and reputations are all at risk now, not just feelings. What makes Tell Me Lies stand out in the crowded streaming landscape is its refusal to moralize in obvious ways. The show doesn't lecture the audience about red flags or toxic behavior. It immerses you in them. Season 3 will likely continue that uncomfortable intimacy, forcing viewers to sit with moments that feel disturbingly familiar. That realism is why the show resonates so strongly. It doesn't portray abuse as loud and explosive all the time. Often, it's quiet, seductive, and wrapped in affection, which makes it harder to leave. Another key theme expected to deepen in Season 3 is memory and narrative control. Tell Me Lies constantly asks whose version of events gets believed and whose gets dismissed. Stephen is a master at reframing reality, while Lucy struggles with trusting her own recollections. As timelines shift and perspectives clash, Season 3 could challenge viewers to question not just the characters, but their own assumptions about truth in relationships. When two people remember the same moment differently, who gets to decide what really happened? Ultimately, Tell Me Lies Season 3 isn't about delivering comfort. It's about confrontation. Confronting the lies people tell others, the lies they tell themselves, and the cultural tendency to romanticize intensity over stability. Scandal and romance may draw viewers in, but what keeps them watching is the show's brutal honesty about how love can become destructive when it's built on fear instead of trust. As Hulu brings the series back, expectations are high, and rightfully so. Season 3 has the chance to be the most emotionally devastating chapter yet, not because of shocking twists alone, but because of its commitment to psychological truth. Stephen and Lucy's story is no longer just about two people making bad choices. It's about the long-term consequences of refusing to break a cycle. And if Tell Me Lies stays true to itself, Season 3 won't offer easy answers, only uncomfortable ones that linger long after the credits roll.